Parents who read your teenager's diary, what did you discover that changed your relationship forever? I found my daughter Lane's diary when I was looking for her math textbook. The diary was on her desk with a pen stuck between the pages. When I picked it up to move it aside, it fell open to a page covered in dark scribbles and the words, "I want to die," written over and over. My whole body went cold. I sat down on her bed and my hands were already shaking. The first entry was from 3 months ago, right after Julie died. My wife, my best friend, Lane's mom. The handwriting was shaky, and there were water stains on the page where her tears had fallen. She wrote about how empty the house felt, and how she couldn't stop seeing her mom's face in the hospital bed, how the beeping machine still echoed in her head at night, how she woke up every morning for 5 seconds thinking mom was still alive before reality crashed down on her again. I had to stop reading because I couldn't see through my tears, but I kept going. The next pages destroyed me. My baby girl described cutting her thighs with scissors from the kitchen drawer. She said physical pain was easier than the pain in her chest. She wrote about doing it after everyone was asleep and cleaning the scissors so nobody would know. Sometimes she pressed harder, hoping she'd hit something important and fade away. My little girl wanted to die and I hadn't seen it. Then came entries about me, how I was never there anymore, always with Uncle Emerson, my brother who has Down syndrome and autism. She understood Emerson needed help with everything, but she wrote that she was drowning and I couldn't see her waving for help. One entry made me sob so hard I had to cover my mouth. She wrote about Julie's funeral, how I left halfway through because Emerson had a meltdown in the church, how I never came back, how she stood there alone at her mother's funeral while people she barely knew hugged her and told her everything would be okay. She wrote that she hated Emerson that day. Then she wrote that she hated herself for hating him because it wasn't his fault. She wrote that she hated me most of all for choosing him over her on the worst day of her life. She was right. I left my 13-year-old daughter alone at her mother's funeral. She wrote about eating lunch alone, failing tests, wrote about lying in bed at night planning how she would do it, pills from the medicine cabinet, the rope in the garage. She wrote that she thought I might be sad for a week, but then I'd be relieved because I'd have one less person to worry about. Emerson would take up all my attention like always, and I'd forget about her, just like I forgot about her now when she was still alive. That night she cut deeper than before. She watched the blood run down her leg and felt calm for the first time in months. I dropped the diary. My daughter thought I wouldn't care if she died. When Lane came downstairs after a shower, her wet hair made her look so much like Julie it knocked the wind out of me. I immediately told her we were going out, just the two of us. She looked confused and a little scared because I hadn't done that since before Mom died. My voice cracked when I called Mrs. Reed next door to watch Emerson. She'd offered to help so many times, but I always said no because I thought I had to do everything myself, because I thought being strong meant never asking for help. At the diner where Julie used to take her for pancakes, I told her, "I know you're hurting," I said. My voice broke completely. "I'm hurting too. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I haven't been there. I'm sorry I left you alone." She broke down then, really broke down, and I reached across the table and pulled her into my arms, and we sobbed together in that diner booth. I held her so tight I was scared I'd break her, but I was more scared of letting go. I told her I couldn't lose her too. I told her I'd die if I lost her. I told her she was the most important thing in my world, and I was sorry I'd made her feel like she wasn't. After the diner, I drove us to the cemetery. We hadn't been there since the funeral. Lane grabbed my hand so tight it hurt, but I didn't let go. We sat in the grass by Julie's headstone and talked to her. We cried together. We told her about all the things we'd been holding inside. I told Julie I was failing our daughter. Lane told her mom she was sorry for wanting to join her. We stayed until it was dark and cold, and Lane was shivering against my side. Things didn't magically get better overnight, but I started asking Mrs. Reed to help with Emerson 3 times a week so Lane and I could have time together. I found her a therapist who specialized in grief and self-harm. I went to therapy too because I realized I was drowning and taking everyone down with me. I learned to really see my daughter again. Not just make sure she was breathing, but really see her. She's doing better now. The cuts have healed into thin white lines. She smiles sometimes when she talks about her mom. She laughs at Emerson's cartoons. Last week she told me she was glad she stuck around. I thank God every day that I found that diary because I almost lost her. I almost lost my little girl and I would have been the reason why.